Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. I salute Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, destroyer of the demons Kamsa and Chanura, the dear darling of Mother Devaki, and Guru of the world, and the teacher of the universe. I salute him again and again. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So we are reading the Bhagavatam, book number 5, chapter 5, verse number 4 we start. So we are reading that Rishabha, who was the incarnation of Lord Narayana, was born, and then he is giving the message, sermon, about the most important thing, about the aim of life. He was a king afterwards and ruled the country, but he was a man of realization. So he wanted to renounce the life and analyzing the purpose of life. We are reading a book of bhakti, but you will be surprised to see that how Bhagavat is such a text where jnana, karma, bhakti, yoga, renunciation, and all these things are just balanced and put into very concrete way. So here Rishabha's sermon, he was giving the sermon to his children, the aim of life. What is the aim of life? This value of Indian traditional spirituality permeates into everything in the culture from the beginning. So as if we are reading a book of a monk, guiding a monk. Tremendous words of renunciation, detachment, the world is wrong, worldliness is wrong, lust and greed is bad, and this, as you see Ramakrishna talking about this worldliness is bad, world is full of lust and greed, love God, love God, love God, like that. Here you find that the Rishabha is talking in the same way. He is saying that having this human body, the sacred human body, I am going a little bit 4 verses before. I will start with the verse 3, but the beginning is verse 1. It says that the sacred human body that you have got in this world is not meant to be utilized for sensuous enjoyments, as by the low creatures, who too get such enjoyments through the filth they consume. It is to be used for the observance of austerity with noble spiritual ends, setting a very high ideal of household life. So what is household life? If you do this, then it is a monastic life. But that is the thing, they want to push that spiritual ideal, that everyone is born. This is a sacred human body. See, first of all, it gives a great picture. This body is sacred. Don't think that it is an ordinary, just like a beastly body. The human body is very rare and pure. You got it. And the world, and God in the world is not meant to be utilized for low things, petty things, which are changeable, which has an end, and which does not bring joy, which brings a cycle of birth and death. So you should utilize it. How? It should be used for the observance of austerity, with noble spiritual ends. And what will happen? By such austerity, the mind will become pure, enabling one to attain the bliss of Brahman, very high ideal set. Nayang deho deho bhajang niloke kashtan kaman narhate virambujaje tapo divyang putraka yena sattam suddhai tasmad brahma sukhang tad anantam. That ananta brahma tattva he will attain. That is the goal of life. The association with the holy ones is the door. How will you go? In a nutshell. How will you reach that end? What Ramakrishna says in Gospel, sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha. Holy company, holy company. So here also, the association of the holy, Mahat Sevam, the association with the holy ones, that is the door opening for entrance into the realm of freedom and liberation. And the entrance to hell consists in association with the worldly-minded men who are intensely attached to lust and greed. Say Ramakrishna's message, no? Sometimes Swami Vivekananda used to speak in this country, in this high note of renunciation. And he used to, after all, he used to smile that I have cleared the hall today. When he started talking about too much this renunciation and this, one by one, the listeners stood up and went back, stood up and went away. Then ultimately, the hall was clean. They came to listen to Vivekananda, and he's talking about this type, no? Goal of life. Beasts also live like that. We should not live like that. Goal is God realization. And the association with the holy is the door to entrance of the realm of liberation, and entrance to hell, or spiritual, hell means here, spiritual degradation, consists in association with the worldly minded who are intensely attached to lust. Don't make a confusion. Every householder is bad. It's not saying so. What he's saying, those are fully absorbed in world and worldliness. No higher value, nothing. If you talk about God, they run away. You can find among your friends' circle. There are some good friends, there are good people there. But you start talking about God, then they'll be they'll quickly run away. And so that criticism you get also, because you are not falling in that same trap, same category. But the goal of life is so high, so it is the path of degradation. Yes, spiritual degradation. What is there? Nothing is wrong. You get everything. You go and enjoy the world and sing, eat, drink, dance, spend the life. Already our life goes away. How much? Our lifespan is some years. 50% goes away by sleeping. 10 years goes by seeing my face in the in the shower. It goes 1-2 years, no? If we calculate that way, our exact life, utilizable life is limited. And that utilizable life we also utilize in mundane talks and this and that and that. And what happens? Net result is that ultimately we forget our real nature, we never progress in spiritual life, and then we run after the desires, and desires catches us, our mind runs after that, and that takes another to work. Work leads to desire, desire leads to work, karma, vasana, karma, and karma cycle of birth and death rotates. Holy men are those. Who are the holy men? Not that everyone professing to be holy is holy, no? Christ said, don't do as the publicans do. In front of the church, they take a rosary and sew a piece of rosary. I am a spiritual person. I am doing bead on the beads. No? Not that. Call your God in your silence, where God and you, nobody else. Intense, private, and intensity of that. But holy people are those who are even-sighted, who are even quality. It's quality. Not by just wearing a dress or wearing a mark in the forehead or in my body 20 marks in the I am a spiritual person, or 20 beads in the neck. That maybe for Brahmagyanis they use whatever they like. But that should not be the focus. So it says, what is the even-sighted? He will be even-sighted too. He will be peaceful. He will be unperturbed in different conditions. He will be friendly to all. He will be endowed with all noble qualities. Or holy men are those who consider the intense attraction that have for me, M capital, Lord Krishna, Lord Narayana, as their noblest attainment in life. Who are the holy? Those people who are attracted to God and godliness. They are more tremendously attached to God consciousness. So we have no attachment to the worldly-minded people. Those who have no attachment to the worldly-minded people. You know, people feel friendship with similar state of mental state, no? Suppose a politician will like another politician. A hemp smoker will like another hemp smoker. A musician will like the association of a musician. A tabla player will like other. There is competition though, that is not the point. But they like the association of people who have sense. No, you are doing some tabla, I have no sense. I am doing like that, and you are doing like that, and this is, it breaks that rhythm. But point is that similar-minded people attract similar. So you want to be holy, so keep holy company. Unholy company, it is. You may think that what is there, let them be. I will mix with them. No. In that Narada Bhakti Sutra says, "Opi me tarangaita opi me samudrayante." This bad association, they create ripple in our heart. No, bad thought. As good people give us good thought, they have that substance, and they radiate that vibration, and they talk, belch, whatever you belch, whatever you eat, that you belch, no? Radish, eating radish, belching, Thakur said, Ramakrishna said, no? So they will belch radish, the world and worldliness, and you will be influenced and influenced, so your spirituality will be covered by their influence. So it is said, bad association. Dussanga sarvathaiva tajjo. Narada Bhakti Sutra says. Bhagavat is saying that they are the people, dussanga, they don't go to the dussanga, but attach. You cannot give up that unless you love something. Mind cannot be free. Unless you give mind some good food, it will run for the bad food. So it is like that's children. Educating the children, mom and dad should be very careful. What they do, what they teach, what they talk, they imbibe all those things, no? So that type of mind is like that, our mind. It should be engaged in thinking of the divine, me, capital, as their noblest attainment. Yeah? They can give up everything but not God. We have no attachment to the worldly-minded people, nor to the children, properties, and etc., and who are satisfied with that much of requirement as enough to live on. Meaning, and they are not greedy for accumulating wealth and prosperity. And why? Because that time you engage, that is, you are lacking to time for spiritual practices. People say, when they are in heavy responsibilities of job, they say that it is taking away all my time. I cannot have any moment of myself. No. So that is the way, but what the goal, today's society is different. Don't have to follow exactly what it is, but it's spirit to be taken. That our focus should be not the attachment for, the goal will not be the attachment for the world, with the wife, with the children, properties, money, wealth, and they're satisfied with that. And they'll be satisfied with the whatever, a normal, smooth living, decent living, and not to more and more accumulate wealth and prosperity. But you should have some savings, undoubtedly, That you have to be careful. Don't take all this advice now. Some people go, I have given up. I am becoming a monk. Somebody wrote me the other day. I am giving away my car, I am giving away my this and that. Where will you live? It is America. You will give up everything, then where will you live? Who will feed you? Oh, God will feed you. God will feed you. God will say, I have given you buddhi. To give up that way is not. It is giving the attachment is the point. Anyone can give up. Externally, anyone can give up. No, under condition. But it is internal. I love God, that's why my mind is not going that much. That's a different thing. I give up. We think the wrong interpretation of renunciation. Renunciation is love. Intense love for God is called renunciation. Intense love for God comes this way, so detachment happens all the other way. That is called renunciation. But here is the emphasis. Holy people are they who have the noblest attainment of life in me, and they don't get attached to all these things, and they have satisfaction as much simple living and high thinking. That was India's ideal from the very beginning, simple living and high thinking. Today is the same ideal. Ideal remains ideal, even today for everyone of our lives. No? But you have to, I would suggest, whatever you listen to this Bhagavad, but also I'll say, make millions of dollars in your savings. And then you start thinking about, oh, I am now tired, I don't want to do work. No, yes, you don't want to do work, I will live simple living, that's okay. But have some sufficient fund for your necessities to fulfill. Be realistic. Now, again, say the same Rishabha is continuing his message, 4th verse, which you start today. Whoever struggles to satisfy the senses is bound to be morally and spiritually lethargic and do many evil deeds. Actually so. Whoever struggles to satisfy the sense-bound life, and they need more money and more money, more work and more work. In ethical way you earn the money, no, in non-ethical way you go. Those who become rich in an ethical way, it takes long time for them. And if you can go to unethical way, you can make good money. Hedge fund versus normal investment, what happens? It gives a big return, no? But you go to the background how they invest this money where? So it is not very good place to get the cheap labor, not paying for them, companies earning good money, Source what is coming. That means this sensitivity should be there. I find no meaning in men doing again and again those very kinds of karmas which have brought into existence this body, which besides being short-lived and ephemeral is the cause of all suffering now. So why this body has been bought? Why am I in the body? Simple thing, because of my karma. What karma did you do? It's a result of that karma. So if this life is the result of my past karma, then I should do some karma which will be more meaningful, more purposeful, more spiritually elevating. So as this body says that if I find no meaning in men doing again, and it is, Rishabha says, I don't find any meaning that people will do the same round and round way of going, birth and death and suffering and misery and pleasure and pain, and this cycle of suffering, cycle of rebirth going on. This ephemeral life is the cause of all suffering, because when we get endowed into the body, see, it is all suffering. We think children are very happy. Children go through so much suffering. You go to child psychology. how they feel worried, anxiety when they are not with mom, or when they feel little health-wise, little something comes, and how helplessly they run. And when you go to the adulthood has its own problem, and then you get old age has its own problem. Oh, they will talk about only doctor and blood pressure and cholesterol and what your doctor said, my doctor said, day and night thinking of cholesterol, blood sugar, kidney and this and that, and what is and what will happen? Have you did the what you call the power of attorney? And if that is high, that you really look at the retired people who are in this condition. Retired people are thinking, where is the investment and how my investment will it be sufficient for me to even this all this worry. When is the time for thinking something which will give freedom? I am here, but I am not should be bound in all these things, but I am something else. I should be feeling that way. So this should not be repetition should not be there. Therefore, Rishabha says the repetition of these karmas is bound to cause new embodiments and more sufferings. If we don't pay attention and do the karma, it will bring its own consequences. Karma has its consequences. You are a holy man. I am an unholy man. Okay, holy man puts the finger into the fire. Will it burn? No, it is because holy, it will not burn. An unholy person puts the finger, it will burn. So, it is the holy, unholy is not the question. You live in the world, you will have to get the burning of the world. Therefore, the repetition of the karma, such karma is to be done which can release us from bondage and new embodiments of more suffering. So again, that's why you call 840 million, or what is the calculation? 84 crores, na?
84 lakh.
84 lakh, like 84?
84
million.
Million, 84
Billion.
Million.
Okay.
8.4 million.
Okay, 84 million. So anyhow, it's a number. Yeah, it's 84 million. You see, if I have now 84 million life cycle, starting from this what is called the amoeba, or in a plant body or in a worm body, and so infinite number of lives in the universe. We are going through that, and is this is life we want? And this life is also going on. And the purpose is that again another life, again another life. Not to fear the life, but how to live the life. That's the question. So long as a man does make an earnest inquiry about the spirit within, so long will he, out of ignorance, be devouring the dawn of spiritual consciousness in him. So long as a man does not make an earnest inquiry into the spirit within, so long he will, out of ignorance, be devouring the dawn of spiritual consciousness. No? There is a sun inside us, the knowledge will dawn. We are devouring that unless we are conscious about our activities, actions. Those who say, go and kill somebody in the name of God and you will go to heaven, I think that contradicts this message. It is not logical, it is not reasonable. A person will, how you do, your action is more important. Not what religion you profess, but what practice you do. So be devouring the dawn of spiritual consciousness in you. So long as he works for selfish attainments, so long will his mind be inclined only towards such actions. Mind will also like to perform that type of actions, selfishness. Me, mine. It is the eternal message of Vedanta. Shankaracharya says in the Gita introduction, or Brahma Sutra introduction, the ahamidam, amaidam, iti naisargiko, ayam loko vyavahara, I, me, mine. The whole world is nothing but me, mine, I. I, me, mine. And when spirituality, thee, thou, thine. Me, mine, my, is all selfishness, because centered around I, this petty I. And Thakur said, what is Maya, what is Daya? When it is for the little me and mine, that is Maya. And when it is for everywhere, to see that that is Daya. Love for everyone is Daya. And for such a body-centered person, given to flesh action, these people have no other way. They don't think anything. Day and night they work hard and just eat, sleep and die. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. Again and again, the cycle of birth. Every day we are born, we are die. We live in one fear, and that is gone, another fear comes up. One way of living, another way. So this is the continuous cycle of running into the life. So, and for such body-centered person who are given to flesh action, that the embodiments are caused again, these embodiments, this rebirth is causing again and again. When ignorance clouds the mind, it is enslaved by the impressions of the actions done earlier. When the cloud of ignorance of the mind becomes clouded, it is enslaved by the impressions of the actions. So the sun is covered. Naturally the cloud of ignorance. Ignorance comes because of our actions, good action, bad action, that create an impression. So that impressions, abstractions done earlier, that is the covering. So long as the mind does not develop attraction and love for me, Vasudeva, so long release from embodiment is out of question. That means, so long we don't go to God, so long we make a resolution that ultimate good is in the self or in the divine, this cycle will continue. No one can stop it. Because it will goad us, because of our impression. I am dissatisfied. Why we are working? We are dissatisfied through the work, this work, I will be fulfilled. Learning this, I will be fulfilled. Killing that person, I will be satisfied. And doing anything, I will be fulfilled. That fulfillment, sense of fulfillment comes by actions. So, until all actions center around God, or the goal is turned towards God, this birth and cycle, this Vrishava says, this cycle of birth and death cannot be stopped. As long as a man, heedless of life's purpose, fails to perceive that the actions of his mind, body are not of the Atman, see, it's a bhakti book, no? It is Vedanta book. So that's why you don't listen that this book is bhakti, this book is jnana. Everywhere is the sum total of all yogas are given. But people have no eye to see. They think Bhagavad reading, you go to some school of thought, only singing and dancing in the name of Krishna is the Bhagavad. But what about this one? As long as a man, heedless of life's purpose, fails to perceive that the actions of his body-mind are not in the Atman, the spiritual self, but he will be completely oblivious of his spiritual nature and behave like an ignorant person. As a merely body-centered being, seeking delight in sense perceptions, sense-dominated life of the household, but suffering from its endless woes and anxieties. So, unless we know the Atman is separate from this, unless that is goaded by the mind to follow the path of pravitti, it is called pravitti, the path of enjoyment, reckless enjoyment, good householder life, that is permitted by this scripture, that leads us from one step to the other step. But reckless sense life brings ultimately ruin and destruction. Mentally they will feel disturbed. So, like someone who gets into drinking. Measured drinking is good. Doctors suggest that every wine is good, little, too little. But little does not stay little. Little becomes little more and more and more. And then what happens? It's a degradation. It takes us to degradation. Where is health? Then that wine or something drinking catches our neck. And we are helpless. We are under this. Every day time comes, I will have to have some drink. And this drink is not a little more. And this more at another time. It is like guraku. Do you know guraku? Guraku is one type of tobacco. In Orissa and other areas, they use it because they say that it maintains your gum stronger. In that name, really there may be some effect, and you use it every day. And then you feel, I was entrapped into that, thinking my teeth, it should be strong. So I started taking. But now, any time something happens, oh, I will have to put that like a paste, no? Rub it. And I do not know, it is the intoxicating effect. And then grow, then 2 times I go, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, anytime I go into the faucet. And now, oh, it's good to rub like that. But it is actually tobacco. And that tobacco intoxication starts, no? Then you have to give up. Otherwise, it damages your, it creates cancer also if it's too much excessive thing and intoxicating effect. So anything intoxicating, it drags us down and it makes us slave of that object. Anything, smoking. See how people want to give up smoking. How people want to give up their drinking. Alcoholic Anonymous. They're struggling and struggling and struggling. And they say, I'm proud that I'm 1 week, I'm sober. 1 week sober, we should be sober all the time. But it is like it started in one way, but ends in another way. That is the danger. That's why the scriptures are like our friends. They're guiding us. Be careful, because opi me taranga ito opi me, as you see in the ocean, little taranga, little ripple. But it becomes samudra ante. It becomes a big tidal wave. This desire, this craving, this running after these little petty things becomes like a wave, and it swallows our condition, mental condition. Therefore, those it is spiritual nature behave like an ignorant person, a merely body-centered being seeking delight in the sense-dominated life of the householder, by suffering from the endless woes. From this, and this, then the people get attached to the world and getting there in terrible infatuation, causing the extension of sense identification, consisting in the sense of mindness with regards to house, property, son, friend, money, and so on. As a result, what happens? This knot of the heart, this is the knot, this is binds us, no? This is the knot, this attachment. Is the knot of the heart. The I sense means I. I connects with anything, I am affected by that. If I don't connect some student news is there are some place, something very bad has happened. You didn't know it even, or if you read, you pass through it, you are not affected. But if you think that in that event you can identify your I with your friend or some person you know or some philosophy you like, then in that case you will be affected by that actions. So this knot of the heart, what is the knot? I sense ahankara, which is the result of tendencies created by the past actions. Everyone's I is different. Ego is different. So how it is developed? According to the past karma. Those who are doing meditation and prayer, suppose in this life, their ego is transforming into a purer ego. Those who are forgetting everything only to cheat others and do harm to others. See, in newspaper you read so many horrible stories, no? What are they doing? They are doing some karma. But for what? For their own pleasure, for the ego. So I can make my ego clearer and clearer and clearer and make pure ego. And I can cloud it with more negative thoughts, negative action. And negative thought will bring negative action. Negative action will create negative thought. It is a vicious circle. It goes on and on. So, which is the result of the tendencies created by my past actions, is therefore identical with the mind. So, mind becomes the same. As we work, as we think, so becomes our mind. So, if a man is to be totally free from the bondage of the sensual life, his mind, free from all modifications, should be dissolved in the category superior to it. So, you have to put your mind in a higher level. If you want to get out of the lower things, you will have to put it one step high. Then man becomes free from the cause of bondage, namely ignorance. So, he is given in these 9 verses that how we are entangled into the world, but we can get out of the world by our actions. Actions means not physical action, mental action also. What you think, that's a mental action. Intellectual action, in every level we act. Thinking is an action. Concentrating on something, that's an action. So, lift your mind from the lower to the higher. That is the instruction. Now, how can I really lift my mind up? You said that is good. Then man becomes free from the cause of bondage, namely ignorance. How can it be done? Now, means of upliftment. About 10 verses, Rishabha will be talking about that. The means to be adopted, 10th verse, on page 22. The means to be adopted by one who wants to break this knot of the heart, it's called Hridaya Granthi. Chiddante, Hridaya Granthi, Vidyante, Hridaya Granthi, Chiddante, Sarva Sangsaya. Tasmin Drishti Paravare. When you can see the Tasmin, that reality which is Paro and Avaro, is beyond all these changes of good and bad, then this knot of the heart is cut asunder. So how, that's why the means to be adopted. Here in this Bhagavat, he is saying, who wants to break this knot of the heart are as follows. And then he gives about such qualities which is difficult to acquire in our life. No. Ramakrishna said, take the name of the Lord day and night. That one formula we forget. And they will give 20 formulas. Of course, America likes, or West, many intellectual people likes 10-point solution, 20-point solution. Because much detail working, no? Buddhism also worked on this, a very detailed, so many rules and so many laws. Here, the bhakti also is so meticulous. It says devotion to, what is the way to cut the knot of the heart? Devotion to and service of an enlightened Guru who is only my real self. Myself means, God says, Bhagavan says, myself. Guru is not Guru, a one person, but Guru is my real self. That means, who looks upon Guru as God, devotion to that Guru, and service of that enlightened Guru. What is the enlightenment of Guru? That means he is an enlightened person and he has tuned himself to God consciousness. That is the Guru. So think of God. That's why in our tradition we say Ramakrishna is Guru. Guru's Guru, eternal Guru. So one, that means you serve Guru. How will you serve Guru? Suppose some our Gurus are gone, physical Guru is gone. What to serve? That is true. And also the ways he lived. He lived for the good of others, he lived for dedicated his life for, and not thinking about what people are talking, what, my good appreciation or hatred, or I don't care. I am serving my Guru. Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai, we say no every day. Guru Maharaj means God, Or in our tradition we feel that Ramakrishna is the Guru. We also think everyone is Guru, but the point is that God Guru. So that Guru is to serve means Guru's work. How Guru is to live the life, what he instructed us to do, following that path is called Guru Seva. Not personal seva. Personal seva, you may think personal seva, but it is not good. If you go close to the Guru, then you think him as your friend. And then you can criticize, you can do whatever you like. Because that is very closeness. But don't go too far, too close. That's why better to be distant from Guru is great. Because human perspective comes. We are not thinking of the man who is imperfect. In the man, we was thinking of God who acted through the Guru to give me the spiritual guidance, no? So that Guru, that's why we call God, think of God, Ramakrishna or your. So that is the service to enlightened Guru, one point. Second point, can you count how many it becomes? Renunciation. Bas. This is Indian spirituality. Anything you go, renunciation. I am a householder, I want to realize God, you are taking me renunciation. What is renunciation? But don't take the negative idea. Negative idea, positive is that love God intensely. As a result, your renunciation will be spontaneous. Third point, equanimity in suffering and enjoyment. In life, very practical point. Equanimity in suffering and enjoy. Very difficult. When we get something of our choice, we are elated and we jump and stand and dance, no? And anything happens which is not up to my mind, I get depressed, gone, lost, no? Next point, the constant remembrance that suffering is there in any attainment in this world or in hereafter. And so, next point is that always remember that the suffering is there. Anything of attainment, either you attain in this world or for your attainment of heaven, you have to work hard. There is suffering. That you call in a better language austerity, this, that, no? So there is suffering. Buddha's principle. Life is suffering. Sarvang dukkham, dukkham dukkham. Sarvang dukkham. Dukkha is a very, very part of life. And dukkha teaches us and gives us, opens our eyes to the higher reality. Intelligent reflection on the true nature of all experiences. Reflection, intelligent reflection. What you have to observe, all the experiences you get, analyze why I am suffering this way, why I am feeling this way. Because there is some attachment, there is some aversion, all these things are creating this type of reaction in my mind. A child does not react with anything. Anyone comes with a sword in hand, child has no sense. And anyone comes with a loving some candy, baby does not understand anything. Both are same to them. But when he develops into adulthood, then he learns everything which is to be rejected, which is to be accepted. So all the experiences, behind that there is suffering. Abandonment of work for personal gain. That means all activity we do, we have to develop this idea. It is not doing for my personal gain. I am doing for God. One simple thought, I am doing for God. I am offering it to God. It is God's word. I am only an instrument there. And austerity. Austerity is every day we go through austerity. And to be taken as austerity as a practice. Today I had a very bad time, I didn't get any time, I worked so hard and I did one austerity. In early days people used to go to the Himalayas and in this type of cold, bare body with some smearing some ashes. But we need not do that austerity. We are clothed, we have a heater, we are sitting in a room, no? What is our austerity? Mental austerity. Someone says something, someone looks at you, bas. Someone comments something, good. So This is austerity. And I should not be disturbed. It's okay, let people say, I know what am I. I shall, if any mistake I will correct, otherwise I don't pay attention. So to feel that this is austerity, to all the sufferings come in life, there's austerity. Sahanang sarvadukhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilapurahitam sa titiksha. Titiksha means endurement or feeling the austerity. I am doing austere sadhana. The day we fast whole day, Ramadan, 40 days they fast, This is austerity. So anything which you do against the normal tendency of the body-mind, that is an austerity. Dedication of work to me capital. Dedication of work, this is always whole Karma Yoga ideal, whole Gita ideal. Do your work, ma manusmara juddhacha, fight in the world, and remember me. Tasmat tang saranang gaccha sarvabhavena bharata. Oh Arjuna, all possible way, surrender to me, give it to me, give it to me. All, whatever you have done, from morning to evening. In the home of fire time, we chant this mantra. Ita purvang prana buddhi deho dharma adhikarata. Ita purvang, just now, before this moment before whatever I had done, Ita prana buddhi deho dharma, prana dharma, for the cause of my survival, prana dharma. Buddhi dharma, intellectual understanding, that for that protection. Prana buddhi deho dharma, and deho dharma, hunger, thirst, anger, all these things are deho dharma. Deho dharma adhikarata, jagrat, in the waking state, whatever you have done. Sapna, in the dream, whatever I dreamt, that's also a karma. Jagrat, sapna, sushupti, deep sleep state. Whatever, when I was deep sleep, whatever I have done, jat kritam, jaduktam, whatever I have done, jaduktam, whatever I have said, tat sarvang brahmarpanam bhavatu swaha. With that, with the ghee, we say brahmarpanam bhavatu swaha. You offer everything as offering to the fire of Brahman. Mang madiyancha shakalam, me and all what I think mine. Madiyancha shakalam Sri Ramakrishna charane samarpaye. I offer at the feet of Lord Bhagavan. So, offer everything to me. Hearing the recitals of my divine actions every day. Recital, every day chant, where there is chanting going on, God's glory. Listen every day. Go on your music. Listen to music, listen to some chants, which glorifies God's glory. That is another quality. Contact with the great devotees, having me as their object of adoration. You keep in touch, contact with such great devotees who are having me as their object of worship. No? They worship God, they love God. Go there, make association with them. Singing about my excellences, those who are always glorifying God's glory, so that your mind will be filled with my presence. No? Non-entertainment of animosity to anyone. Don't entertain animosity to anyone. We are reading the book, Swami, what is that? Providence Swami, old before, what is it? Sarvadevananda Swami. Sarvadevananda Swami. We are reading his book. He is telling every time that animosity, don't see fault with others. Don't look at that. If it is there, don't look at that. You say, I don't know anything. I don't accept that. Teach your mind, force your mind. So, no question of animosity to anyone. Equanimity equanimity of the mind. Tranquility of the mind. Cultivation of intense desire to get over identification with home and one's body. Every day to try. I shall not identify with my body and my treasure, my home, my thing. It is God's home, God's body, God's. Put I to thou, I to thou, I to thou. Wherever it comes, it is internal struggle. Study of the scriptures. Every day one should do. See how many already? Probably 8 or 10? Huh? Oh, now continue. Study of scriptures. Every day read some scriptural reading. That always reminds us who as we are reading. We use whole day. But it is only, we are here 40 minutes. 40 minutes what we are hearing. Scriptural reading giving us all the values. It is just talking about that. So read or study the scriptures. That important. Living in solitude. Sometimes Ramakrishna always said, Nirjan Vas, go to Nirjan Vas. Nirjan Vas, Sadhu Sango. Hey, এটা চলে গেছে. So, study of scriptures, living in solitude. And living in solitude means go to the isolation, like that you come to the temple and do some prayer and meditation in isolated. You can go to any isolated place, we call nowadays retreat place. That means away from little our home front, where you need not have to, those thoughts which always bothers us being in that environment, you are off from that. And you don't mostly forget all the troubles. When you go back, as Ramakrishna said, you go after the Ganga Snan, after by bathing you come out, and those left you, they just jump on your head as soon as you come out of the bathing. No? So that's why scriptural reading and living in solitude. Next, conquest of the senses and the vital energy. That means pranayam. Prana and vital energy and senses. Control your senses. I want to see this. No. Is it beneficial for me? Then I will see. I will hear this. Oh no. Is it beneficial, spiritually uplifting? Then. So, control, self-mastery. All these qualities. Strong faith in God, strong faith in Guru, strong faith in my potential ability. 3 things. Celibacy means purity of life. One-pointed love for husband and wife is called celibacy. Monks will have celibacy, absolute celibacy. But these are all the characteristics which build up the spirituality. Vigilance means watchfulness. What my mind is doing, am I following the path, or I am following the path of dukkha. Restraint of speech, endless. Then the knowledge and insight to see my presence in everything. You should have a knowledge God is everywhere and try to see God everywhere. Practice of samadhi. Every day do meditation. Practice of samadhi. Cultivation of equanimity. Keep the mind balanced in all conditions. How difficult. Everything, little thing happens. I also do the same thing all the time. But more equanimity should come. Balance will come. Firmness. In your resolution it should be firm. Perseverance and discrimination. Firmness, perseverance, discrimination. By practicing all these, then how many it became now? 20?
22 actually.
22.
Firmness, perseverance, and what is the
Firmness, in one point, firmness, perseverance and discrimination. Firmness, perseverance and discrimination. So now, by practicing all these, an earnest aspirant can get over the knot of the I sense. So we are talking about how the bondage of I, the knot of I can be cut asunder. Practice all these disciplines one after another. After one has, by the instruction, how will you get it? After one has, by the instruction of the teacher and the careful practice of the above disciplines, completely overcome the knot of the heart, that means I sense, that is born of ignorance and forms the seat of tendencies leading to work one can give up all practices of yoga. So, practice all these things and your mind will be so clean. Then above, following the instruction of the teacher, this I sense will be totally abolished, and then one can give up all practices of yoga. That means you need not have to do any other yoga practice. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, dhyana yoga. This is all-inclusive instruction. For once the I sense or self-centeredness is shattered, sadhana or spiritual practice by conscious effort becomes redundant. When this practice gradually develops and I becomes purified, ego. Ego is refined and refined and refined and refined, becomes translucent, transparent, no? Then that ego will not create a bondage. It will be like a glass pane. Seeing the thing opposite side, but you cannot touch it, but still you can see that. That is called the state of bhava mukha, or a state of high state. Ramakrishna used to live in that state. So it is no more bondage because he has no ego. That's why Ramakrishna, it is difficult to find ego in Ramakrishna. These instructions should be given by a father to a son, a teacher to a disciple, a king to the subject, if they wish to attain my state or aspire for my grace. It should be done patiently without getting annoyed even when they are fond of unreceptive. That means this message should be, everyone should teach each other to make a better person, egoless person. They should not be allowed to get more and more involved in work for sensuous gratifications with which their discriminative faculty is already dulled. So the world, most of the people, we are forget about this principle. We live in the dullness, callousness of the world and worldliness. So this type of discussion will help them to come out. What gain can a teacher have by confirming such men, already blinded spirituality for want of discrimination, in their involvement in this whirlpool of samsara, by prompting them to work and rituals for worldly advantages? So, what is the purpose of a teacher who will teach? What will teach? Do this karma. But what is the purpose of doing this karma? This karma should be for releasing us from bondage. If that it does not take, then all spiritual practices are meaningless. So, these are to be followed to grow in devotion and to destroy our ego sense. Okay, there are a few verses more. We have finished only up to verse number 15. But these are great lessons. How he has, in a nutshell, our life's goal, and how to get out of the bondage, how the knots of the heart can be cut asunder. All this instruction given one by one, one by one, one by one. We'll do it next class again. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tassat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So we'll be meeting again at 7:30 for our Shanti Gita class. Shanti Gita class this month, this is the last one, no? So last one, we'll end the revision of the Shanti Gita, what we have studied so much. Today we'll be ending that. And next January, New Year, we start to that book, which is not very popular. It is called the Jivan Mukti Gita. That name is also Gita, but it is called Jivan Mukti Gita. I have never read before, but verses are very simple and understandable, describing the condition of a person of illumination. So how he lives, how he eats, like the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, how an illumined soul moves in the world, lives in the world, eats and does. We'll talk about that. Okay, we end our class now then. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.